Electricast.
Whether you're a diehard sports fan, a hopeless romantic, or a comedy aficionado, the Xfinity 10G network was made for streaming it all. Worry less about buffering when streaming your favorite shows, movies, or live sports, and enjoy a better way to watch. Xfinity gives you a reliable connection for streaming, plus all the entertainment you love all in one place. Fear not, because now you can finally sit back, relax, and stream your favorite entertainment and sports like never before with the Xfinity 10G network.
Why wait to see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Day when you can go to BlueNile.com and find something you'll love? Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a little winter sparkle or show a galentine how much you appreciate them, Blue Nile offers a wide selection of high-quality designs, expert guidance, and free 30-day returns for the ultimate peace of mind. You can even design your own jewelry. Right now, save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Welcome into Missing the Point. I'm Michael Marcangelo, joined alongside by my guy, Hollywood Rayhsawn Buchanan. And on this glorious day, we are talking about another ass whooping that the Patriots suffered at the hands, this time against the New Orleans Saints, 34-0. This game, there was absolutely nothing positive to talk about. And so I think you're listening to the right show because we're not going to talk about anything positive. But before we get into it, Ray, you were right. I was wrong.
Yeah,
you were right.
It wasn't, and I know those that listened to it last week, and I got text throughout the week like, man, I've never seen you like, you've had your negative moments, man, but like this is next level. And I'm like, listen, give it time. I said, I watched this game just as much as anybody else. Like I've seen it coming. And once again, it's too bad that we didn't get the clip up, but that's fine. Like I said, I was like, because I think the week before they was scoring 9 against Tampa Bay and they had lost 26-9. I said, don't worry, Mike. they're gonna give us 30. You're like, you don't believe that? Yeah, I do, because that's how bad this team is.
No, what happened was I said, oh, the Patriots, you went 30.
Yeah, 30.
You were so insulted by it.
Yeah, I said they're gonna score 30. And once again, I thought they were gonna get to 40. I mean, once again, it was beautiful to see. Like I said, we'll get into why it was beautiful to see later on. But man, I said, wow. I said this team really. We thought 30-3 was bad. I said, but to not even score. I said, ooh, at the crib too, not on the road, but at the crib, you come back. Supposed to be a bounce back game. We're on to New Orleans, and you do nothing. It's a tough scene, baby. Real tough scene.
Let's set the scene for everybody out there. Over the course of the last 2 games, the Patriots have been outscored 72-3. As it currently stands, in this game on Sunday, they had 1 possession in Saints territory. On the season, the Patriots have had 1 offensive possession inside the opponent's 10-yard line. They have scored 10 touchdowns in 5 games. So actually, you know what? I think I'm crediting them too much. Is that right? Yeah, that is right. Yeah. They have 5 receiving touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. No, I'm sorry. They have 6 touchdowns in 5 games and 4 field goals.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh. So again, we can talk a little bit about the actual game on Sunday. Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. Listen, they struggled in the first quarter, and it wasn't because of our defense. They just the Saints were not firing on offense. But you said it a couple of weeks ago, and I think you're right. Now I'm hearing it more on a national level, so I don't know who you talk to or who listens to us, but we appreciate it. The Patriots are a get right team.
Yep.
You play us to figure your shit out. And oh boy, did they. Right? I mean, Michael Thomas had a good game. Kendra Miller. No one even knows who Kendra Miller is, but if there's a team that you're going to introduce him against, it's going to be the Patriots.
Right. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like I gotta listen. I teach high school, man. I got a couple of high schoolers right now. So hey, what up, Jelani? You made the show. Congrats, brother. Like Jelani's 6'3". Probably he'll probably laugh at this if he hears this, but he's probably 160 on a good day right now. Jelani right now gets 3 catches for like 35 yards against this Patriots defense.
I was just about to say we couldn't cover him.
Yeah,
I mean,
at all.
I had the privilege of being in attendance for the LSU versus Mizzou game out in
Nice.
Columbia, Missouri this weekend, right? And as I was watching the talent in the SEC, I said to myself, I truly don't think the Patriots could beat LSU or Mizzou. I don't think they could do it.
I mean, Mizzou's a little bit below. I would say the LSU's, Alabama's.
They're 5-1. They're 5-1 in the SEC.
I know, but but historically that hasn't been a good program. So I wouldn't. They're good for right now, meaning Mizzou. But I know, but LSU, the Alabama's, eventually Texas is coming over there. I think next year or 2 years, I should say. It's going to be a problem. But yeah, I don't think they can anybody that's cream of the crop and Pac-12, whatever. Like it'd be spooky season, and I'm not just saying that because it's Halloween. It'd be real scary.
Mac Jones was benched for the second consecutive game, and we'll talk a little bit more about him. But again, the Patriots' inability to run the ball, I think, is still the biggest story for me. I mean, you have a guy like Ramondre Stevenson that carried the ball 8 times for 24 yards. He's rushed. I mean, he's rushed the ball for 188 yards in 5 games. And it's like, I brought up the LSU Mizzou thing because I was talking to people who obviously are not Patriot fans and they said, Mike, what happened? I have no idea what happened. I mean, I think we can finally say that this is it. Like, this is how it is going to end. And Bobby and DK talked about it last week on the Power Ranking show. Like, they wanted to give us shit for it, but it's almost too sorry to give us shit for. I mean, This fall is so ridiculous. People are saying, well, maybe you should tank to get Caleb Williams. I just want to remind people the Patriots are fucking trying right now, and they can't win a game. So Ray, the first question I have for you: has Bill Belichick lost this locker room?
So it seems like it, honestly. And I want to bring up an old school coach that I'm sure that Bill is enamored with because of his love for the game, and that's Tom Landry, right? So Tom Landry was with Dallas for 29 seasons, I believe. And, obviously, one was Staubach, Drew Pearson, Tony Dorsett, Hollywood Henderson, you name it. They had a squad in the 70s. Danny White comes there in the 80s. They do some more stuff there. But as he's on the way out, their record was terrible, right? And I just feel like for every great coach, same thing with Shula, right? Shula, the one that Bill's chasing. Even when Shula got into the mid 90s, he coached for 23 years in Miami. It never ends well, right? So that's where we are, and that's okay, right? Once again, I was done in 2020, but I was told by you and other participants of the show that was too premature. But I'm just like, like you can see, like once again, we have seen what Bill is without the greatest quarterback of all time. And shout out, I forget which national show I seen it on, but I'll credit them and their researchers for bringing this stat up. Excuse me. Bill Belichick is now 72-79 without Thomas Edward Patrick Brady III. And that's a very telling stat. So that's a very big sample size. So that's 151 games, right, of seeing you without the greatest quarterback of all time. And you're pretty on par, you're pretty mediocre. And once again, there's a lot of coaches that are mediocre, right? And once again, maybe he just becomes the best defensive coordinator of all time. If he doesn't get Brady in for those 20 years. So, but to answer the question about losing the room, yeah, I do think that's where it's at, and it's mainly because I think just the game passing him by. We made the point a few weeks ago about Popovich and San Antonio for an NBA. What has he done without Duncan? They've been very mediocre, if not poor. Now, granted, the guy they got in the draft this year, that Wembanyama kid, and who knows? Maybe we get out Wembanyama next year. Who knows? But he just gave Pop another few more years. So can we get a Wembanyama here so that we can? I just want to build a coach.
Right.
But like I said, right now, to answer your question, yes, he definitely lost the room. And it's matriculating through the rest of the organization, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're seeing reports coming out from all the beat writers saying that the offense is going to look very different, and it's going to be a reset. If you're Kraft right now, we've talked a little bit about this before, but do you take the step now at this point in the season to say, Bill, like, you are relieved of your general manager duties? Do you think you'd do it, and is it worth doing?
Only reason why it may not be worth doing it now is just one, it won't matter who they bring in at this moment. Like, they're not going to turn it around. Like, unless you brought in Patrick Mahomes. So like that's not happening, obviously.
Well, and just maybe just in the sense of, you get a general manager in here that will actually trade whatever assets or players that people around the league deem as assets for picks.
So, in the words of Debo from one of my favorite movies, Friday, well, he said what chain, but in this case, what assets? What assets? Like, are you kidding me? Like, anybody that would have been deemed worth trading, basically it looks like trash right now. Whether it's Kendrick Bourne, whether it's Ramondre Stevenson, whether it's Hunter Henry, and I almost, I gawked at this, but maybe Duggar. Listen, Craig, I'm sorry. Don't edit this part out. Like I said, you and I are the leaders of the Kyle Duggar, fan club. But I'm just like, maybe you look to move on. Maybe you move Uche. I don't know. But to me, I mean, Bill never has problems with moving on for players in general. So I don't know why it would be any different now. Once again, you're not in position to do anything. And what's crazy, there's injuries happening all over. So granted, you can't predict that. Obviously, if someone is going to get hurt at some point, but it's just like, damn, you would think if you had put some type of roster out there, you might at best be 3-2 right now.
Yeah,
I'm at 3-2.
No, absolutely. So, and I think
crazy.
the whole thing about Bill never being afraid to move away from a player a year too early. He always did that when he was operating from a position of strength. He's right. Not doing that now. I think that it has become very, very clear to everyone, and hopefully to those at One Patriot Place, that this is because of his off-season moves. It's directly. I mean, I do think that let's just say if we didn't go get Juju and we kept Jacoby Myers and somehow we were able to land, we just paid DeAndre Hopkins. I think this team's 3-2. If nothing else happens, that's it.
Well, I mean, so that could be feasible. I don't want to dismiss that. I've seen a lot of Jacoby Myers takes the last few days. It wasn't really on this show, but even though I'm someone that wanted him going after the Raiders game, but a lot of Patriots Twitter or Patriot X wanted that as well. So it is kind of hilarious to see the taking back of that take from last year for some people on Twitter. So it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I do think because he was a safety blanket for Mac, then yeah, Mac will look a little bit better. But at the end of the day, and no one has lamented this point more than you, the offensive line has not been where it needs to be. So because of that, it really wouldn't matter who's behind center to an extent. Not having enough time to throwing off his back foot. There's just a lot of things that are going left right now with that offense. And yeah, it starts with Bill, but some of it has to be fall on Mac too.
Yeah. So I'll ask you, what do you do with Mac?
You bench him. You bench him.
What? All right. So what does it say that they don't believe in Bailey Zappi enough to bench Mac Jones for him to start a game? I think
I think it's yeah. Go ahead.
If they had a backup that they thought was actually serviceable and could win a game, Mac wouldn't be starting.
Yeah, but what are we doing though? You're putting him out there. He's progressively getting worse. I can see if he had back to back, and we talked about this, certain numbers, right? It wasn't like he came out there, 25 or 33, 285, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Then I'm like, oh no, that's decent enough numbers. He can stay. That's not even happening. He's not even touching 200. It's pathetic. It looks like me on NFL Blitz. Shout out to those who remember that game. It's not under control. So to me, why not? So whether it's Will Greer, whether it's Malik Cunningham, I almost think they're scared to put Malik Cunningham in there because it's just like I feel like he is someone that wowed in the preseason when he did play to in that small sample, but he does fit the modern day quarterback even though he was undrafted. And the worst case scenario, well, at least for me as a fan right now that wants him to continue to lose, is for Malik Cunningham to gain some type of confidence and he actually make the offense look reasonable. Because if he does, now we can't get the guy that I want, and it's actually not Caleb Williams. We'll talk about that later on. But I've been watching tape all day on a guy that is definitely well known. But where we are right now, draft wise, he'd be there. So I'm just like I'm all in on this particular guy that we'll talk about later on.
As good as Malik Cunningham could be, and as big of a shot of the arm or in the arm as he could be, the offensive line still can't block, and the receivers still can't separate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, maybe Bill doesn't want to ruin another quarterback. Maybe. Because listen, I do think Mac is ruined for sure, DK mentioned this on the show with Bobby last week about how in our chat he was saying Mac Jones isn't good and I would defend him. You know what? DK is right too. I think, and it's easy for me to say like, well, what if you put all this around him? Listen, they didn't. So in his current form, Mac Jones is a bottom of the league quarterback. He's a bottom third, and whether that's fully on him or not, at some point in time, you need to accept the situation that you're in and make it better. And he isn't doing that. So I think that they ruined him. I also think that they fucking ruined Bailey Zappi, because if they believed in him, they'd put him in there.
Yeah, that's valid. I just think to me, I'm mad at what do you have to lose. Like that's what my mindset is. What do you have to lose?
2 young quarterbacks.
Yeah, but my thing is neither one. It's been shown that neither one of them are the guys. Now, what's crazy, and as we joked about it last year, but it was true. The most Gillette Stadium felt alive last year was when Billy Zappi came in against Chicago. Yes, they ended up losing that game by double digits, but when he came in there and got that ball down to Devontae Parker and they scored on 2 touchdowns in a row, that crowd became unglued. And I outside of the Dallas game a couple of years ago for Mac, I have never seen that crowd like that since Tom Brady left. So I don't know. I just felt like maybe if you kept simplifying it, once again, when you throw for 62 touchdowns in a season, I don't care what level you're on, that's hard to do. And I'm talking about Bailey Zappi. So I do think, once again, if you simplify the form where it's a lot of checkdowns, it's a lot of, dig routes, some seam routes. Yeah, I do think he can get it. But if that's the case, why do you even draft him in the 4th round? But that's the case. There was other guys you could have drafted in that spot that could have panned out potentially. But yeah, I don't know. But we're way past the being concerned if we're rumoring 2 quarterbacks. That narrative is there. That narrative is unfolding to be true. Right in front of our very eyes. So my thing is get the feelings out the door. And, my thing is you just continue to lose. Because once again, depending on what happens after Sunday, they could very well be 1-7, 1-8 going into November. And I'm like, a few weeks ago, I'd have been upset about that. Right now, I'm like, let's go. Like let's keep it going, keep the train rolling, because that means there has to be a change at season's end. There has to be. If they go 3-14 or less than that, they have to make changes there, and it starts with Bill. You can even let go of O'Brien. So I know we'll get into that too, but you can let go of anybody you want to let go of, because there's not anybody. I don't want any residual impact for next year. If that's the case.
Yeah.
We're going 15-12. That's where I'm at.
I 1000% agree. Like, if you're gonna make the big move at the end of the season and move on from Bill as head coach, I want nobody that's been here coaching under Bill to be here next year. I want a complete and utter restart, because this thing that they're doing right now isn't working, and you can see it. It started declining in 2019. Now, Josh, we saw Josh Brady. Josh was able to, we used to call him Jet Sweep Josh here on the program. We'll talk a little bit more about him, but
yep.
he had to incorporate a trick play every single game from 2019 until the end of 2021. Just for that offense to be formidable in any sense. And now you see, since he's left, we all know about the atrocities of last year, but now this offense is averaging 217 yards passing per game, 83 yards rushing per game, and is averaging 11 points per game. So how much of it, in your opinion, as of right now, falls on Billy O'Brien's ability to coach and coordinate this offense that he was given?
Listen, it was given, the Kool-Aid was given to us all of season about how it was going to look substantially better, how, Kraft handpicked him to come back. And I know there was some other reasons that it was more personal for Bill O'Brien, as far as some stuff with his family. It made sense for him to return back to New England. So that part I don't need to get into, but just on the field, and we talked about it, right? Even here, right? It felt like, some of the play calling functionally looked better, but you still have to have the guys to execute, and
right.
not having, not seeing a lot of seam routes. They don't have two tight ends that can run up and down. Once again, Henry's probably their best target offensively right now, but that hasn't been of any use in these first few weeks. I don't know. I just certain guys are just not running the offense the way that they desire or wanted to. I do think it ties back to the offensive line a lot. It's like one thing, obviously, Dante Scarnecchia could not, coach forever, because obviously he was getting into his 80s. So to not have an adequate, response to that, to get a guy that can come in and coach. I don't know if it's Adrian Clem now, whoever it is, being an O-line coach, but I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of things that's going on, and I don't know if O'Brien feels hand tied. I don't know what it is, but he should get some type of the blame, because once again, under Matt Patricia, they were getting almost 19 points a game. Right now, it's at 13 and it's going down. Something's wrong with that pitcher. And I joked that you laughed, you scoffed at we owe Matt Patricia an apology. But I'm like, at this moment, we getting there, because it's like, well, damn, how could we almost average a little under 20 with Matt Patricia? As bad as that was, it was bad, and it was real bad. To now you're a preteen with Bill O'Brien, and it's awful. It's really, really awful. And I said, there's no other way to describe it. It's very poor play on their behalf, and it starts with him.
So listen, like I agree, and like we do need to blame him for something. I don't know how much blame I put on him, because here's why I would say this. We've seen his ability to coach an offense here, Penn State, Houston, Alabama.
But
they were all pretty good offenses before this. What the fuck is this? What is this? Do you think in the offseason, when Kraft made the pitch to him to come back, or the plea, whatever the hell it was, that he promised him that Bill was going to go out and get some more talent? Like, because I find it hard to believe that he would have come back for this.
No, well, no, as I'm saying, there was some other stuff I think personally why he chose to come back too. But
Yeah.
I mean, on the for an on-field narrative about him, yeah, for sure. I do think there was some stuff that they sold the dream to him about. And once again, he knows he's been up here. It wasn't like he was, brand new to the organization. He knows, but once again, this is not 07, this is not 08, wasn't 2010 or even 2011. And once again, he went from Brady, then he had Deshaun Watson. I forget who his QB was at Penn State, but some of his guys are now in the league. Allen Robinson was under him at Penn State. Mike Gesicki was under him at Penn State. So he's produced some NFL talent. So it's not like, and these aren't scrubs. So I don't know. Obviously, the debacle with D-Hop a few years back. I even though he's not lighting it up in Tennessee, and that's mainly because he's playing with Ryan Tannehill. But I do think because
I wish we could knock Ryan Tannehill, but we have Mac Jones.
No, right, but I'm saying, but but Tannehill is in that same ilk. Like I say, Tannehill is nothing to write home about either. But what I'm saying is having someone that would have known the offense, meaning with D-Hop, how well he knew Bill O'Brien's offense, that might have been a difference. He could have sat there in practice and said, "Hey, when you run this route, take this angle instead of this angle. Could it make you more separation at the top of the route, or on this comeback route, lean more to the sideline so you get that back shoulder fade." Like there's other stuff that could have been said by D-Hop in practice that could have helped certain receivers. That's where my mindset is with that, not necessarily the QB that's throwing the ball to them. So there's a lot of nuances that were missed, I think, by not having that signing, and it's unfortunate.
For a coach that has been here as long as Belichick, right? There's one thing that I personally believe that Belichick doesn't value offensive talent.
For sure.
I think the fact that Brady was here, it covered that up. But I mean, I think he's been right on running backs and devaluing them since his get-go here. Fine. Mm-hmm. But the one offensive thing that we have had for 20 plus years is a slot receiver.
Right.
How do we not have a solidified slot receiver? How is that possible?
It should be Pop Douglas. They got the guy. They got him.
He won't play him.
He won't play, but he also got knocked out of the game on Sunday, unfortunately. But we see it. He gets behind the defense, and for the he's gonna if his hands can get there, he's catching it like that. That we have seen that so far. If it's in his catch radius, he's coming down with the ball. Like that. That's just what we're seeing. But yeah. Not getting played a lot. Keyshawn, Bousse hasn't been played. I mean, I guess now he's going to have to be played now because they have so many injuries at that position. So we'll see. He's basically been buried since that week one. So sad, but I'm like, I don't know. To me, the mismanagement of the offensive talent, whether it's not drafted correctly, whether it's not developing them correctly, really, really set this team back. And once again, we could say it's been since, Tom left, but it's really been since 2018, 2017, really. I remember like them getting rid of Brandon Cooks right after. And I'm just like, what are we doing? I know he got laid out in the Super Bowl, but I'm like,
he did run backwards in the Super Bowl,
Sure, but I'm just like, this man got flatlined in the Super Bowl, put his body on the line for you, and you give like you don't give him another shot like that. That to me was crazy. I know they tried a little bit with the Josh Gordon thing that worked for a little bit. Excuse me, but it's just like, to me, if that's the case, like why are we not like keep bringing in them type of guys? I don't know. It just, to me, it's amazing to me where they just no longer want to bring in those type of guys, or even can bring in those type of guys. It's just sad. Like at this moment, we might as well have Cam Newton back there. Honestly, Cam Newton.
At least we were a top 10 rushing team.
Yeah, they were top 5.
We were good at. At least we were good at something.
Yeah.
Anything,
And
really.
honestly too, I think we're missing this, and we're missing Damian Harris.
Oh yeah.
I know. People, I mean, once again, I loved Damian Harris while he was here. I don't know what he's done really in Buffalo, but they don't really run the ball much there. But he was one of Kraft's guys, and I know this for a fact that he was always at the Celtics game with Robert Kraft. So he was one of Kraft's guys. He definitely treated him like a son. And whenever he was healthy, he was someone that was going to get 4 to 5 yards every time because he was a bruiser, and him and Stevenson were a really good 1-2 punch. And maybe that's what affected Ramondre too. You asked what was wrong with him. Maybe that affected him too, and he hasn't really been able to recover. But it's like, hey, my guy, it's a business. The guys you come in with are not always the guys you're going to to leave with, and situations change literally on the fly. But yeah, this team misses Damian Harris. For those that want to, feed the Jacoby Myers narrative, sure. You want to say you miss him, sure. But it does go back to the quarterback to an extent, because once again, with Big Ben, Juju looked really good. With Mahomes, Mahomes got him paid again. So it's just like, my thing is, if you had a decent quarterback, right? I think we would see a little bit of what we saw last year from Juju, and then what we saw in Pittsburgh. Once again, he wasn't going to get 120 receptions here, but we would have settled for 60 receptions, 850 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Absolutely, because he's capable of that. That's what he did last year: 78 catches, 953, 7 touchdowns. Like that would be perfect. But once again, when you don't have that guy behind it throwing it to him, he looks a lot different, as most receivers do. So that's not an opinion; that's a fact. Yeah.
Just to visualize for you how bad the offense is for the Patriots, and how it really is a systemic Patriots problem. The leading receiver on the Patriots this year through 5 games is Kendrick Bourne, 18 catches for 218 yards.
Surprised that much.
Yeah, not great. Jonnu Smith has 21 catches for 246 yards, and Desmond fucking Ritter's throwing him the ball in Atlanta. And he's not even the number 1 tight end. Last year with the Patriots, he had 27 catches for 245 yards in 14 games. It ain't him.
Well, I mean, Arthur Smith had him in Tennessee before he got to New England. So that makes a little bit of sense of why that number is there. And once again, you were high on Jonnu when he got here. I remember that when we got that signing. It was Henry that you wasn't as high on. But it flipped the scale once they got here. Henry produced a little bit more, or a lot more, than Jonnu. But they just don't want to do anything with Pitts. So I mean, I would want us to trade for Pitts, but I wouldn't want him. He would be used less here than he is in Atlanta. That's crazy. Like that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. Cause I would give whatever for Kyle Pitts. And once again, I'm a UF guy, so I'm a little biased, but he is Julio Jones at the tight end position. You don't find those every day. So once again, if Atlanta's not going to use them, because they got Drake London, they got John Smith, they got Bijan Robinson. Okay, cool. Come to death row. That's where I'm at with that. But that's also a pipe dream.
We spend a good amount of time shitting on the offense on this show, justifiably so. It's time to talk about the defense.
Yeah.
I understand injuries. I understand all of that. As a collective unit, they're not that good.
No, nope, not at all. Peppers, has fallen off. Uche really hasn't made a name in the contract year, so that means he's gone. Oh no, actually, let me say that back.
No, that means he's gonna step. He's gonna step.
That's what I'm saying. He'll get a 4-year, $18 million deal, for $11 million guaranteed. First reported by Adam Schefter, ESPN. Next year. So maybe so that's that. Unfortunately, we haven't heard much of Keon White since the first couple of games. We still get to see Jack Jones. Miles Bryant, looks like a little giant out there. It's just like, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. We haven't heard much about Mapu as well. So there's a lot of questions, on that defense as well. And yes, when you lose Gonzo, who was on his way to probably being defensive rookie of the year, when you have a Pro Bowl caliber talent and Matthew Judon, out for at least 7-8 weeks, it changes things, and I get that, right? So with that, we can add that caveat whenever we talk about this, but like you said, collectively they have not gotten the job done, and it's not really a bend don't break anymore because teams are literally just saying, okay, we'll throw on Miles Bryant, we'll throw on Peppers, and it's like you brought back JC Jackson for what? Like what like that's what I'm saying. Okay. Stuff like that. It's like you're trying to quote unquote salvage the season, but I'm like, JC Jackson, once again, although he was really good here, I'm not gonna sit here and say he wasn't, because he was, obviously. Like, he's not the same guy that he was before he left here a couple of years ago, and that's okay. No. But he wasn't saving the season, and that's what I'm saying. That it goes back to the GM points you talked about earlier.
Right.
The game, literally in every facet, special teams, offensively and defensively, which is weird to say defensively, because to me, I still think that Bill Belichick is the greatest defensive mind this league has ever seen and will ever see. Yeah. I don't think we'll ever see another mind like that defensively, but it's time. And like I said, but the game, it never gets past the bye.
That's the thing, though, right? Your number one corner goes out, so now you have a need. Excuse me, and Belichick addressed it because it was on defense.
Right.
You have a need on offense, and he is unwilling to address it. He won't do it. He will not go out and get you a good wide receiver. I mean, I can't imagine that the Broncos would be asking for too much for Jerry Jeudy right now. Get him. Go get him.
Go. Right, but my thing at the same time
for next year, get him for next year.
Sure. I'm just like, go get him in Pitts for next year. That'd be great.
I mean, the Broncos are a fucking dumpster fire. The Falcons are actually competing for the division.
Atlanta's going to fade out soon. Listen, they played. Listen, Desmond Ridder is not going to turn into what Matt Ryan became overnight.
No.
He's not even going to be where Chris Chandler was. For our older heads, he's not.
He just needs to be better than Marcus Mariota, dude. That's all he needs to do.
Sure.
Just go 8-9.
Yeah. That's true. But I'm like, I would say, but go get Jeudy, somebody. So
I mean, there's a need. Address it, and Bill will do that defensively. He's done it time and time again. He knew that we needed a corner in 2012. Who did he go get?
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't get Talib. Talib gets hurt, and then he goes to the Broncos next year. What does he do? Well, Bill then decides he's going to add Revis, Brandon Browner. I mean, he went on a run there when he signed elite defensive talent, and he got lucky with some offensive talent later in the drafts, Gronk, Hernandez, Jules, whoever you want to talk about. But he won't go out and make those mid-season moves to get offensive talent. He hasn't never done it. He'll never do it.
Well, that 2010 draft, saved him a few more years. Obviously, when you get McCourty, get Aaron Hernandez, to get Gronk. That
McCourty was almost a bust. Remember, like, he had a great rookie year, and then he didn't. Right. Then he couldn't play corner the next year. He could not do it.
Yeah, and they got him moving to safety, and it turned into a 13-year career. So so that's fair. But I mean, I remember the kick returns, and he was a jack of all trades early on. So that's what led to that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why he just won't do it. Once again, when you're seeing, and I get it, he always wants to buck the trend or be the ultimate contrarian, and it's like, dude, like, to see, you're never going to beat a team like Miami when they got guys like Helen Waddle, like, ever. Like, unless you match it. But once again, if we had the same talent as them, Oh yeah, Mike McDaniel's not coaching circles around Bill Belichick. We know that, but
Right.
that's not the. It's like, dude, you're coaching. You're doing mental gymnastics just to come up with certain game plans to not lose by 40.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
The
wild.
goal against a team like that, right, would be to limit them to 15 points a game. That's a win. You're scoring 11. Like that is the what else does he need to hear? Which leads you to my next topic of conversation first, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
How much? Two questions. How much worse do you think it will get this year? And do you think GM Bill Belichick will survive a 5 to 6 win season?
So I'm looking for it to get much worse. I'm hoping it gets much worse. I'm hoping they get blown out because once again, we'll get into our predictions about the Raiders game. We know they're not beating Miami or my 305 actually was coming at Miami. they're not beating Miami or Buffalo week 7 and week 8. That's not happening. Like,
no.
like, and once again, as you and I always say, as the rest, 2/3 of the wrestling aficionados on the show, that's not a prediction. It's a spoiler, baby.
Sure is.
Like, they're gonna get blown the fucking building. So, I can't wait. To see that happen. But yeah, so I'm expecting and hoping for it to get worse. But to show this to your next question, no, I don't think that he survives that, and he shouldn't, right? You shouldn't be able to go 5-12. Once again, how many coaches go 5-12 and keep their job next year? That's not a part of it.
I said GM. I said GM Bill because I don't think they're going to fire Bill as a coach. I don't.
Well, I mean, okay, I'll put it like this, and I know, and I'm changing a little bit of what you just said, but say, and they only win 2 more games the rest of the year, right? And they go 3-14.
Well, they only play the Jets one more time. How's that possible?
Because there'll be a bullshit game that they figure it out and win. That's just how it is. It's always been like that up here, regardless, good or bad. They always win the game they shouldn't win. It'll probably be just like the Chargers, Steelers. It'll be one of those teams they'll beat, and you'll be like, oh, how did they win this game?
Well, I mean, they should beat the Steelers.
Should they though?
I mean, they always have.
We'll be here talking about it, but should they? It's just like, once again, they haven't, even though we've beaten them when it hasn't mattered. But I'm like, this time around, I'm hoping Kenny Pickett and them go fucking bananas on us when they play later on in the year. But no, the GM side, as you said, no, it shouldn't last that. Once again, can you still coach up a great game plan? We've seen it. Yes, that's possible. You could. Your groceries that you were shot for are expired. You know that commercial? Expired. Like that. That's basically what it's like. Round 1 expired. Round 4 expired. Round 7 expired. Undrafted expired. Like that. That's where. Like that's basically where. That's one of my favorite commercials. I love that commercial. But it's just like that's basically what is going on. So yeah, if they don't win more than 3 or 4 more games in this regular season, and no talent they drafted the last few years develops, then yeah, there should be a real the conversation should be had probably at the end of this month, right? So if when they're 1-7 by the end of this month or 1-8, whatever it be, I would sit down with Bill and say, hey, getting Shula is still important to me, or to us as an organization for you, because we want that for you. We want that to be here. However, we do want to move in a different direction when it comes to picking the talent so that you can get 347 quicker. Because right now, what we've been picking, what we've been choosing, hasn't benefited us the way that it used to in the past. So let's get somebody in here that's like-minded, or not like-minded. Let me say that.
No. Fuck that.
Like-minded means it'll be someone from Appalachian State and pick 5. We don't want that. But let's get somebody in here that's younger. Get somebody here that understands the current trends of the NFL wholeheartedly, and not waste fucking picks on special teams guys and special team aces and gunners. Let's do that. Have a meeting of the minds. It's funny because the guy that could have been that is now down in Houston, but that's a whole nother, nother story for another day. Because he was doing it. He's doing a hell of a job down in Houston. He took your formula and he brought it down to Houston. He got the good head coach of D'Amico Ryans. You got the quarterback of C.J. Stroud. You got the running back of Damian Pierce. Shout out to them Gators. You got Tank Dell. You got Nico Collins. Just saying. Just saying. But in all 5 games so far, even though they're 2-3, they've been in every single game.
Yep.
Crazy.
Which leads us to this Sunday at 4:25. Sorry, the Patriots square off against the Las Vegas Raiders. Our old friends Josh McDaniels, Jacoby Myers. So, Ray, realistically, is that a Raiders jersey?
Raiders.
Oh, see, you've completely
I'm going full Jim Murray mode, baby. Full Jim Murray mode.
So, realistically, what do you expect from the Patriots this Sunday?
Realistically, I expect us to get a field goal early on and go 3-0. They'll rave about how that's the first lead that we've had since like week 3.
That's a Jets game.
Yeah, it's a Jets game. And then Jimmy G will show us why he should have stayed here. And he'll go 19 to 28 for 250, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And the Raiders will win 24-10.
You think we're going to score 10?
Yeah, because the Raiders are the Raiders. They're going to have a moment where they fuck up, but yeah, 24-10 easily. Once again, come listen to me, Mike. Listen to me, buddy. Because I'm like, people think I'm like, listen. You're not going to hear. Sometimes you're going to hear irrational takes on this show, and I want to be clear to those that listen to this. Me and Mike have been spot on about this shit all year. So you hear the influx of our voice, you hear the animation, you think there was trolling, and yeah, some of it I wish we could say we were trolling, but we're not. And once again, because we know what we see, we know what we're talking about. Like they're going to get their ass whipped again on Sunday. Like it's not. It was again. It's not a. We turn that to a shirt too, Craig. Well, no, that's copyright. But it's not a prediction, baby. It's a spoiler. Or it's a fact of life, baby. It's going to happen.
I mean,
it's just a wrap. It's in Vegas too, right? Is it in Vegas?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can just roll Mark Henry's old music. Like someone can go get their ass kicked. Right, that is about to happen.
Yeah, welcome to the Hall of Fame, baby. Yeah, exactly.
Now we know, because again we still have we're I would say we're biased, and now we're biased against the Patriots, right? But that's just based on what we've seen. I do think that Bill will shut down Davante Adams. I think that's going to happen, and I do think that Jacoby Myers will catch 11 balls for 130 yards, and he'll score 2 of those touchdowns.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And for Jacoby Myers, I hope that happens for him. I hope that he gets all of that.
I got to tell you though, I think 24-10 is that's too low. I think Josh is going to drop 40 on us. And I think Max Crosby might kill one of our quarterbacks. Whoever plays, I think he's going to kill him.
Hey, and that's the case, beautiful. And that leads to what I wanted to talk about, because we didn't get to before the prediction. I've been watching tape on Drake May. For those who don't know who Drake May is the quarterback at North Carolina. He succeeded Sam Howell, who's now with the Washington Commanders. Let me tell you, I know people are gawking and going crazy and all googly-eyed over Caleb Williams. You should be, because that man is special. But this kid in North Carolina, 6'5", 225. I remember another guy that was also 6'5", 225. But this guy can run. His arm is unbelievable. He makes every throw you can think of. And if he's there in the top 5, I'm telling you, that guy should be in this uniform next year. There's not a throw he can make. He doesn't make too many turnovers, which is that's a staple up here. He knows how to run and gets down. Throws a seam route perfectly, throws a 3-ball perfectly. I'm all in on Drake May. There's other guys, there's Michael Penix in Washington. There's other quarterbacks that may come in. Obviously, Deion Sanders, Shador, who I like as well. But I'm telling y'all, Drake May, he's 6'5", 225. He also wears number 10, ironically. That kid is special, and I feel like you should hear next year with the third pick in the 2024 NFL draft, the New England Patriots select Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina. And I promise you, there'll be better days ahead if they get a guy like that. Promise you. He looks like Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers mix type guy with the athleticism. Makes throws on the run. To me, there's nothing he can't do. And to me, you go get a guy like that if he's there. And
the problem
next year lines up perfect.
Because of the NIL money, he's probably already making $2.5-3 million a year right now, and the Patriots won't pay him that.
I mean, you have to pay a certain amount of top five anyway, so it's not like they couldn't completely lowball like that anyway. They would have to pay that. I
mean, just to be clear, Caleb Williams already said that he's. We didn't say this, but people are speculating that unless he goes to, I think it's the Cowboys, the Niners, or a couple of other teams, which like he's just going to stay. He's just going to stay in front of the year because he's already making more money.
Right, but that's also that. I get the premise, and once again, dude, as good as he is, bro, you're not Marino, you're not Elway. You're not Bo Jackson. You're not Deion. You're not those. Come on. Let's pump the bread. And I get it. Shout out to you for already getting money. He's a hell of a player. Everything I said about Drake May, Caleb Williams is all that and probably a little bit more. But it's like, bro, like you, for one, I don't know. I'm not sure why you would want to go to Dallas right now. That's the case. But I San Francisco, I can see that. That would be pretty dope. And
he's not gonna fall. Yeah, he's not gonna get there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I'm just like, that's not happening. So, and once again, Joe Burrow probably didn't want to go to Cincinnati, but look what's happened. So I just like, my thing is don't run out of certain situations you think it's going to be necessarily bad. He's way better than Kyler Murray. So if he does go to Arizona, you'd be just fine, bro. Like, or if you go to Chicago, and you replace Fields because they end up trading Fields. Then so be it. Unless Fields continues to play the way he's played the last couple of weeks, but I'm telling you, I won't say you heard it here first. The other guy that talked about Drake May, but I'm telling you, Drake May is going to be as good as any other quarterback that comes out of that draft next year. He has the size, he has the athleticism, and most importantly, he can make every throw. No back foot throwing off the back foot. No, he on the run. He's probably just as accurate on the run as he is in the pocket. That's huge. Like, I don't know. I just to me, I'm sold on him. Like I said, Caleb Williams is a pipe dream. That's not happening. But Drake May is possible. Michael Penix is also possible, but Drake May is the guy, in my opinion.
So I have the Patriots losing this Sunday, 42-13. By the way,
nice.
It's the Raiders. Nice. Before we wrap up, just real quick, can you remember in all the times that you've been watching the Patriots, where they have not been good at anything? Anything?
No, nope. Because you usually even in 2020, right? They were excellent at running the ball.
Yeah.
Cam, Damian Harris, Sony Michel, like they were really good at running the football. So, and even the line was somewhat decent in 2020. Even I know there was no, fans in the stands, but at the same time, you still got to block, and so they were really good at that for 2020. Yeah, but no, it's a shame that there's literally all three facets of the game. They're subpar, and I don't know what the remedy is. We've talked about what the remedy could be, but I won't believe it until we get that that notification on ESPN or from NBC Sports Boston saying that after 23 years, 24 years, the New England Patriots have moved on from Belichick in that particular role, or they fired some other people. But yeah, something's got to give. And once again, I hope with every fiber of my being that your prediction comes true. Either way, they're going to lose, but I hope that it's another blowout. And matter of fact, let me take that back. I hope so. The last two games, it's been 72-3.
Yo, you wanted to drop 70 on us?
Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, my thing is, I'm saying you said 40, so that would be what, 112. Why not get it 112-3? Why not? Means you don't score again. 112-3. And you just go from there. And then like I said, you get Buffalo, and then you get Miami.
Oh.
And I mean, shit, Buffalo gonna put 50 maybe, and then Miami. Yeah. We haven't seen them put 7. Well, actually, no, it is down there. Even with Brady, we didn't always win down there. So I know for sure, guys are gonna come down there, and once again, someone who lived in Miami, they're gonna come down there. They're gonna chill on Ocean Drive. They're gonna go to Prime 112. They're gonna go to the Versace Mansion. They're gonna go chill in Coral Gables, down in Kendall. Even maybe a little bit, get a little food on Doral. You name it. Because they're gonna show them a good time out there. Because that's what people do out there. And then they're gonna come into Hard Rock Stadium. What used to be known as Pro Player. They're gonna come into Hard Rock Stadium. And you're gonna hear, "Thank you, Miami Dolphins fans, for coming to the game. Your final score, the Miami Dolphins 56, New England Patriots 7. Thanks for being the best 12th man in the league. And until next time, Miami Dolphins #1." Oh God, I can't wait. I wanted to go down there too for that game too, but I didn't get the tickets. But I should have. I might have made it go down to see history.
Yeah, I mean, this is
oh God, so bad.
For the next 12 weeks, we're going to be asking this question. Kraft, where are you? Where are you, and what are you doing?
Yep, grow a pair, Robert Kraft. So.
And until next week, for Rayhsawn Buchanan, this is Michael Marcangelo saying enjoy the Patriots game this Sunday. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, it's Tim from 50 Years of Music with 50-Year-Old White Guys, the comedy podcast you had no idea you needed. Join Ben, Jeff, and me as we continue our musical road trip back through the years and around the globe. See, just when you thought all white guys were like Joe Rogan, you come across 3 educators trying to remember when we were cool.
50 Years of Music with 50-Year-Old White Guys.
Electricast.
Hey there, I'm DC. I host the rock podcast Back to the Arena, The Interviews. It's about a 30-minute podcast where I talk one-on-one with a band who has released new music. You can find us on all the best podcast sites like Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and more. If you're a rock fan like me, subscribe today to Back to the Arena, The Interviews.
Electricast. Electricast.